Knicks family, what's poppin', man? Tough loss, but we gonna get to it. Crazy, another road loss, but let's get rolling. Man, seriously upset about this loss. We should have won it. We could have won it. We had it right there. Mighty Knicks, what's poppin', brother? We had it right there. And we blew it. Bottom line, we blew it. You know, honestly, I mean, being down a good portion of the first half, making a run in that third quarter, when you look at the stats, and I'm going to pull them up in a minute, we actually dominated most of the game. A lot of the game. I don't want to say dominated, but played very well. And then down the stretch, some bumble fumble plays, man. A young team, I know, and we'll be going over that theme time and time and time again. A young team, but at some point, we got to start to make these plays. Tired legs, maybe, but when you're there, right, mentally, you got to get over that, Kenny. Ken, you got to get over it, bro. You know, I know what they said. We got in 2:30 in the morning. Maybe we were tired. If we really are tired, then maybe Hornacek needs to use a couple of people. You know, go a little bit deeper in the bench earlier in the game to try to save our legs. You know, Kenny, you say, what was Hornacek thinking? What are you saying there? You talking about fourth quarter execution? Because, you know, I have some problems with our fourth quarter execution and maybe even some of the players that were in the game down the stretch. But, you know, we'll see. Kenny, I think we'll be fine. Remember, y'all, no hard. Yeah, I know. I agree. No harder way. But when we have a game that we could have won, we got to pull them out. You know what I'm saying? We got to pull them games out. I know we don't have Hardaway here, but we had the game. We had the lead. I mean, what we have, a 5-point lead and down the stretch of the game, we got to be able to pull those things out. You know, let's take a look. Let's take a quick look at some of the stats for the night. You see, we out-rebounded them 51-44. You know, so we went to work on the boards. A lot of that is to Enes Kanter. You know, Kanter definitely went to work tonight. Assists, we had 25 assists tonight. We were moving the ball pretty well, especially in the you know, in that third quarter. We were moving the ball, playing together. 9 blocks, only 14 turnovers. We shot 45% from the field. They only shot 43% from the field. They shot 40% from three, but they made 10 3-pointers. We made 8. The difference in the game, though, is look at take a look at the free throw. The difference in how many free throws we shot. We shot 6 free throws. We were 5 for 6 from the free throw line. They shot 25 free throws. Made 18, 72%. But that's a 13-point differential right there in free throws. And why? Because they were more aggressive going to the basket. We don't go to the basket like that. You know, we've got to get, you know, we've got to start getting a little bit better penetration, getting to the basket, getting more, you know, trying to get more aggressive, getting in there so we can get to the free throw line. A lot of our losses, we'll see that we shoot a low, you know, not shoot a low percentage, but don't shoot as many free throws, you know, and that's always a sign that you're not being aggressive, you know. So, you know, it's a game that we got to get over. It's a game that we had right there. I thought we had it in the bag, but our fourth quarter execution, man, it just wasn't good. When we came down the stretch, those last few minutes, it wasn't good. So that's the tale of the game, and unfortunately, we've heard this too many times on the road, right? Yeah, Porzingis didn't drive much. He didn't get in the lane. He had Tolliver on him all night, and Tolliver is tough. He's physical on KP a lot. And that messes with KP. When you got somebody physical, it messes with him. Yeah, Knowledge Seeker, it was the mistakes in the last 2 minutes. You're saying, why is Baker going to the basket in the last minute? We forgot to move the ball, and that's down to the team in Hornacek. You're exactly right. You're exactly right, Knowledge Seeker. That's exactly what's on my mind. Down the stretch of the game, our fourth quarter execution was bad. Right? The ball stuck. Especially that last shot when we had a chance to possibly tie. The ball stuck. Kenny Reese, you say Baker is a second and third quarter guy. Well, I'm going to say this. Maybe he is. When we played against Boston, he wasn't, right? Because, he helped us pull it out. He helped us pull that game out in the fourth quarter. He played, the whole second unit played the fourth quarter. So he helped us pull it out. I didn't think tonight he had that kind of defense going. He's playing against, we're playing against some really tough guards. Against Boston, you really had one guard in Kyrie that we had to worry about. When you gotta worry about Ish Smith and Reggie Jackson, those guys, man, they're tough to stop, and they get a lot of penetration and get into the paint. That's the reason why you see that free throw differential. Because Ish Smith and Reggie Jackson penetrating on us all night. And those are keys when we discussed the game last night. Those are some keys that we said. We said we need to keep those guys out the paint. And we didn't really keep them out the paint. Honestly, Alpha, you say, honestly, I'm losing faith in my New York Knicks to make a huge impact in the playoffs. Well, if we can't win on the road, then we won't make an impact in the playoffs. If we can't win on the road, we're not going to make the playoffs. So, that's going to be that. Choco Mantis, did Beasley play? He played. He didn't do too much tonight. He didn't do too much. Ken Sniffy, you say we got to be easy on KP though, guys. He had 2 different injuries in the last month. This is his second game back. You're right. You know what? KP played well most of the game. But in the last game against Detroit, the physical play got to him. And I'm not going to say Tolliver wasn't as physical today. Maybe KP handled it a little bit better, but down the stretch, well, I'll say this. KP was kept to shooting mid-range jumpers. He didn't really get too much penetration. And KP he's not the guy that's just crazy breaking down the D like a guard. But he can get into the paint and score in the paint. He didn't do that too much tonight. He kind of stayed outside shooting those mid-range shots, and that's what happens, a guy like Tolliver plays that tough defense. One of those games, I'm not going to say one of those games, a road game. If this game was at home, we'd probably win and pull it out. A road game. For whatever reason, that road is a killer for us. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but that road, man, we're having a very hard time getting over the hump. Yes, Ralph, this L sucked. It was a terrible L, terrible loss. Yeah, Big Smooth, he did. That wasn't a good 3 either. That wasn't a good shot. He tried to hit the dagger and take him out when we needed to take our time and get a good shot. That hurt. A Tim Hardaway type shot, right. That hurt. And Lee, in that fourth quarter, let's go to that, man. Let's talk about some of this fourth quarter execution. Our fourth quarter execution was terrible down the last. The Nala Seeker said it down the last 2 or 3 minutes of the game. Our fourth quarter execution was bad. You know, you seen Ron Baker try to penetrate. You know, honestly, he had the right idea. I'm not sure who it was. I think it was. I think maybe it was Kyle Quinn that he was trying to dip it to. Play got plucked. You know, my question at that point was, should Ron Baker have been in the game at that point? What do you guys think? Should Ron Baker have been in the game at that point? We had Ron Baker, Jarrett Jack at the guard spots. No Frank. Frank was brought in for that last play, you know, with 23 seconds left. But should Ron Baker had been in that situation? I mean, he did it against Boston. We seen him do it a few times last year. You know, he didn't do it tonight, obviously. But what do you guys think? Should he have been in, or should Frank have been in instead? You're right though, Chaco. I'm not trying to beat. I'm not trying to beat up on him. But you know, when you lose, there's a reason. And if we're gonna become a better team and not just be an overachieving team, but a team that is a good team, you know, we don't want to always be an overachieving team. And maybe we give them a year to be an overachieving team, but we see the potential where they can step forward. I mean, it's there. It's clearly there. You know, where they can step away from being an overachieving team and just say, this team is good. Little things like this, they got to learn how to get past it, you know. But I see what you're saying. You know, we got to give them a chance to grow. But we got to talk about it. If it happens, we got to talk about it. If they don't want us to talk about it, don't let it happen. Make the plays, win the game. We'll be talking about something different. So Kenny Reese, you say Ron Baker should not have been brought in that late. Bring in Frank. I tend to feel like Frank should have been in the game at that point too. He was having a good game most of the night. Not most of the night. He played a good game. He was playing good defense. I don't see why he wasn't in the game. I don't understand why. We're not getting second shots, you say, Sir Patrick. Well, I mean, we did win the rebounding battle. Let's see where we were offensively. Offensive rebounds. I mean, we had 16 offensive rebounds. They had 15. We won the rebounding battle, 51-44. You know, so we got some second chance points. Kanter got some second chance points. I think Kanter had 16 boards tonight or something like that. Let's see what Kanter did. Kanter, 22 points, 16 rebounds. So we handled on the boards for sure. It came down to that fourth quarter execution and some bad plays, you know, some bad shot selection. Kayla, you say Frank should start in January. Jack can't guard young point guards. I agree that Jack has a hard time guarding some of the young guys. Things are kind of going well. I don't know if you mess with the rotation yet, but I understand where you're going and I understand what you're saying. And Frank should definitely be getting 30 minutes a game, in my opinion. I don't know how many he got tonight. Let's see. Frank had 19 minutes tonight. I'm not understanding why, because he was playing well. You know, probably should have got more minutes. I want to take a look. I want to take a quick look at that fourth quarter, that last 23 seconds. Because, I didn't understand what was happening. I seen somebody say earlier, apparently Courtney Lee is our go-to guy. And maybe so. I don't know. But I know that Tolliver got switched off onto him, right? So I guess he was looking. He decided that he was going to take it, but clearly, or maybe this is. Well, we'll take it from here, but clearly he didn't have the shot. So let's just take a look at what happened coming down the stretch. This is the last 23.7 seconds.
I think they're going to foul before the Knicks attempt a shot. The Knicks obviously use time off the clock.
We got the KP. Now here we go.
Courtney Lee.
Okay, this is when he got blocked. Okay, we'll leave it there. You know what? That actually was good penetration. But again, there we go. Yeah, we're going to get to that 14 seconds. We're here now. But again,
point-blank range.
There we go. We're going to Courtney Lee. Is Courtney Lee our closer? Or did they just feel, we'll pause it here for a second, or did they just feel that KP had it going for most of the second half. Why are we not giving it to KP to try to create? Or did they just feel like Courtney Lee had the matchups? Yeah, and in that situation, if we were going to go to someone to penetrate and try to get into the lane, we missed Tim Hardaway, right? Because, Tim Hardaway, yeah, Chaco, I know, right? Because maybe Tim Hardaway would have, maybe got to the line and converted that. But, you know what? Lee's made some big shots, so it's not like, we can't totally kill him because he's made some big shots for us, definitely, right? But KP was doing his thing. What did Lee have? I'm not sure what Lee had, but after we'll take a look at this and then we'll move on. And of course, we can't keep this too long. We don't want YouTube to shut us down like they did before.
Still an eternity remaining in the game.
But okay, so Stanley Johnson is going to, I was really hoping. I thought maybe he'd give us one. Obviously, he didn't. Knock down both free throws.
Drummond on the bench. Knicks out of timeout.
You say, I know we're a young team, but we have veterans.
It was Bullock with
why
the
don't
rejection.
they tell the younger guys to slow it down? We had the last possession. And it was our veterans who end up taking the shot. So look at this here. Okay, he switches. Tolliver's on him. So I guess he figures, okay, I got the mismatch. But then this is just bad execution.
Final seconds, Porzingis fires.
That's just terrible execution right there. I'm not sure if that was the intended play.
In Detroit, after leading by 4 late.
That was bad execution. I don't know exactly what we were meant to do. We needed a 3. I don't know why we didn't run something
for the second time this season. 104 to 101.
Yeah, the heroics of Jackson. They could not deny Jackson down the stretch. So they couldn't keep him out of the paint or off the free throw line.
But we got to work on that fourth quarter execution.
This play right here was a big play.
This whole game.
Well, no, this is the one.
Well, not the whole game, but of course in the fourth quarter.
That Lee got inside.
Some bad subs by Hornacek.
Sending Johnson to the line
with you. Maybe we had some bad substitutions. Frank probably should have been in there.
So the Knicks fall here in downtown Detroit.
He didn't get in until
the final.
With that 14 seconds left or whatever it was. Yeah, but on the last play, Tony, I know the play before with 23 seconds left, he saw the opening. That was the right play. He went to the basket. We can't blame him there. But then on the last play, he got isolated with Tolliver on him, and he went for his. I guess we can't blame him for that. But I'm not sure why we're not, look who we had. Dougie in the game Frank was in the game. You got KP in the game. And I'm not saying Courtney Lee is a bad shooter because he can shoot. But why are we not trying to run something to get some guys curling, constant curls around and try to get somebody open for three? Well, Kanter wasn't in the game at that point because we needed threes, and Kanter's not hitting threes. But you know what? I guess we can nitpick and we can cry and complain. It's going to happen. There's going to be games like this where you can't, you don't execute good down the stretch. You don't execute correctly. But we've got to do we got to change something. Something's got to happen. Because I thought when we took the lead, I was okay, maybe this is going to be the game that sets us onto the right track on the road. And it ended up being a game that could hurt us even more. You know what I'm saying? Because we had a chance to pull that one out. Hopefully the team is tough enough, mentally tough enough, like the Pacers game. Hopefully the team is mentally tough enough to find a way to start pulling some things out on the road. Yeah, you know what? We did, Chaco. We made a comeback. You're right. We definitely made a comeback. We were down early in the game. But even then, you get down early in the game, you come back and you take a lead, and you have a lead in the fourth quarter, you've got to be good enough to pull that out if you're going to be a good basketball team and not just a mediocre team, not just an overachieving team, but if you're going to be a good basketball team, you got to be able to pull those out. So we're growing. We see growth, right? D. Gons, you said, I see growth. I agree. We see growth. The next step to our growth is winning on the road and, learning to be more poised, winning. I mean, we've won some close games, mainly at home, obviously. Close games at home, we're a little more poised and we can pull it out. We got to start doing it on the road. Right? We got to start pulling those things out on the road because we have some serious road troubles and they're mounting up. Let's look at the road. Let's take a look. Okay, on the road, I want to pull this. I'm gonna pull this graphic up. We play to the competition sometimes. That could be true, Zach. But Detroit is on the same level as us. It's a team that we could beat. Tony, you say that's all Lee's fault. At the end, you got to put it up, even if you force it. I agree with you there. I agree with you with there. At that point, he jumped into him and was trying to get the foul, and then he decided to kick it back out with, 1 point, whatever seconds left. You might as well just go up with it. You might as well just go up with it, and hopefully something caroms off, and you can get a rebound in. He probably should have just went ahead and shot that. But let's look at something on the road. On the road, and I know it's a little funny, it's a little off. I just try to put this together real quick for now. These are our road losses right here. I didn't put our wins in there. These are just our losses. OKC, 21-point loss. Boston, 21-point loss. Toronto, 23-point loss. Atlanta, 12-point loss. Houston, 15-point loss. Indiana, an 18-point loss. Chicago, we lost by 2. We should have won it. Brooklyn, 7-point loss. I'm sorry. You know what? I need to go back and look at that. We won that. I'm sorry. Erase that. Charlotte, 18-point loss. Detroit, 3-point loss. Take the Brooklyn out of there. We lose. You take Brooklyn out of there. We still lose by about 14 points a game on the road. You know what I'm saying? We're averaging 89.92 points per game. It changes a little bit with we're taking that Brooklyn out of there. I didn't mean to have that Brooklyn thing in there. It was a mistake. But 89, around 90 points a game. You know, that's concerning. And then what's even a little bit more concerning is that we have 50 games left. 28 of those 50 games are on the road. Right? That's concerning. Yeah, Kenny, imagine if we won half. Imagine if we don't even need to win half. Imagine if we won just 2 of them. If we beat Chicago. And we talked about this a couple of shows ago. Yeah, just to see that. For anyone who's just logging on, I'll show you what we're talking about. Forget about that, what you see there with Brooklyn. Take that off. That was a mistake. But you see those, how much we lose by on the road. You know, that's not good. You know, that's bad news. We can't lose. That shows a lack of focus on the road, a lack of mental toughness on the road, a lack of grit on the road. You know, and at some point, we got to make some changes. We got to figure out what to do and how we make those changes. Because, you know, those road losses are killing us, and it's going to kill us for the remainder of the season if we can't get it together. Now let's see. You said you still think we can get 40 wins. Maybe we can. We might still be able to get 40 wins. You know, 28 out of the next 50 games on the road. You know, that's going to be challenging for us because, you know, we haven't been a good road team. So it's definitely going to be challenging for us. You know, I'm not exactly sure what we need to do to start winning on the road. You know, but it's you know, we got some things last season, later in the season. Sorry, I missed something there. Oh, John Woo. Okay, later in the season, question mark. How about starting next week? You're right. I mean, we play Philly, and then we go on the road, right? January is the month. Well, we hit that road, and you know, especially towards the end of January, we hit the road, and you know, we're gonna have to, you know, figure out a way, and maybe this is what we need. Yeah, John Woo's going to be rough from next week all the way until February. Maybe this is what we need. You know, maybe we need to get on the road, travel on the road a while together. We get a little bit more comfortable, and we start playing a little bit better on the road. Yeah, Chaco, 3rd best home record. Something like that. I think we're tied with San Antonio for the most home wins right now. Which is good, but we also have probably the worst road record, and we shouldn't. We're a good enough team where we can win some games on the road. Let's look at the standings real fast and just look at this road record. We're a good enough team where we can win on the road, you know. So it has to be mental. You see how much just this one loss did. If we win this game, we're the 5th seed in the East at 18-14. We're the 5th seed. Lost this game, we're out the playoffs. If the playoffs were to start today, we'd be out. Okay? That's trouble. I mean, we're that close. You know, we're jumbled up down here between probably these 1, 2, 3, 4 teams. We're all jumbled up, and we can't win a game on the road. And we looked at it before. These teams are at least 500 on the road. Detroit 8-9, Indiana 8-7, Miami 10-8, Washington 8-9, and we're 2-10. You know, and we're and then the second half of our season, majority of our games are on the road. You know, that makes it difficult for us. We're gonna have to find a way to man up. But yes, our back to what our home record is, 15-5, and you got San Antonio is 15-2. So we don't have the second best home record, but we're tied for the most wins on the road. And if we can find a way, we're tied for the most wins at home. If we can find a way to be 500 on the road, we'll be okay. We'll definitely be good then if we can just find a way to be 500 on the road. You say, knowledge seeker, I think our guys have to take each possession separately. We take quick shots like it's the first quarter. It's like they just want the game to be over. So you're talking about fourth quarter execution. Yeah. You know, we've got to be a little bit smarter in that fourth quarter execution. Slow down a little bit. Think the game through a little bit. That's what Jarrett Jack has to do for us. You know, he has to just go ahead and take control in those situations. We need Jarrett Jack to just say, hey, let me tell you guys where to be and where to go. Okay. Brooklyn Prophet, you guys should be happy the Nets beat the Wizards. Well, we are. We're happy the Nets beat the Wizards. It didn't, you know, I guess it helped us in the standings a little bit. But, you know, we're still, you know, out the playoffs. I mean, I'm not worried about the Nets and the Wizards. We should have won and could have won tonight. You know, we got to pull these things out. KP, there were two. Yep, that shot by KP, that was a bad decision. Ken Sniffy, you say the team's going to be nice. Once Timmy comes back healthy, he gets back in game shape, we're going to be good. I think so. I mean, I agree with you, Ken Sniffy. You know, we're going to, if we can keep these guys together, we're going to be a good team. You know what I'm saying? We continue to grow. You know, you learn how to win at home, and then you learn how to win on the road. So obviously, we know how to win at home. We got to learn how to win on the road. That's the next step, right? It's learning how to win on the road. We learn how to win on the road. We take a leap. We become a good team, because if we just won 2 of those games on the road, we're top 4 in the East, right? I took it down. But looking at the standings again, if we just win, right now we're 17-15. We win 2 games on the road, we'd be 19-13, and we'd be the 4th team in the East. That is, you know, that's the difference in the East right now. That's the difference for us, being able to win on the road. What's our record in back-to-backs? That's a good question. I'll have to look that up. I'm not sure. Mighty Knicks, you said when you saw Baker, you knew it was over. You mean when you saw the turnover, or just the fact that Baker was in the game at that point? Let's see if we can find out what the Knicks are on back-to-backs. Can't sneak out. No, I don't think Baker's that bad. Like I said, in playing against Boston, he was in the fourth quarter and he did his thing. Tonight he didn't. I tend to think if you were going to have one of Frank or Baker in the game at that point, you should have had Frank. That's my opinion. I think Frank is more versatile, a more versatile defender at that, because of his length. He can guard multiple positions, and he's a better passer. But it's coach's call. It's coach's call. You said, and it's the Knicks. Hornacek panics, to be honest. He took Frank off because of one turnover. I think he really wanted the road win because he saw the Knicks up 4, but led him to poor decisions. A's, I agree with you. Frank had one turnover tonight. 5 points. I think he had something like 4 assists. And only had one turnover. I can't understand why he only played 20 minutes. He was, I think, 2 for 3 from the field. One of them was a last-minute heave. I don't know. I don't know what Hornacek saw that made him say Frank doesn't need to be in the game, but I think Frank should have been in the game. If we look at the box score, Frank was 5 points, 3 assists. He had one turnover. He was playing a decent game. He was 2 for 3 from the field. Probably should have been in there. But D. Gons, you're right. Coach is learning too. It is. It's a learning. It's a learning moment for the whole team, for the organization. We're learning who we are, what we have. As we discussed before, these 20 games that we have. We were at a quarter point in the season. The next 20 games from the quarter point of the season, that was, the first 20 to 25 games, the team is kind of developing a foundation. And then the next 20 games, because this is a new team, the team is developing their identity, right? And learning who they are as a team. And you can see it. You can see us learning who we are. We see some really good things, some nice things. We know we can get Dougie on the move, right? We know that Dougie Fresh is always moving off the ball. O'Quinn finds him cutting. Michael Beasley kicks it out to him at the 3-point line. We know if we need a bucket, you can go to Beasley and go one-on-one. We can go to KP and go one-on-one. We know Tim Hardaway Jr. is going to get out in transition, right? We're learning what Frank can do. We know Frank can come in and play D. We know that he can hit some big shots down the stretch. So now we're starting to develop that identity. The next step is pulling out these big games, the games that we know is going to propel us forward, right? We learn who we are as a team. Now we got to start to pull out big games and pull out games on the road, right? That's that next step, pulling out big games that we know can propel us forward, winning on the road. We beat a Boston team last night that, maybe they were tired. We flew to Detroit, a tough game. Mentally, we got to be there to say we can pull this out and pull it out. Looking at the rest of the stats for the night, because we didn't really look at it. KP, 29 points, 9 rebounds. Good bounce back game. Lance Thomas, 3 points. He gave us some good defense, 7 rebounds. Kanter, 22 points and 16 rebounds. 3 assists. I want to talk about Kanter. We're going to talk about him in a little bit. Courtney Lee, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. 6 for 15, 40% from the field. Frank, 19 minutes, 5 points, 3 assists. Dougie Fresh, 10 points. Kylo Quinn, his minutes were down tonight. Beasley, 6 points, 3 assists. I don't know. Joakim Noah came in and got 3 minutes. I don't know what the purpose of bringing Joakim Noah in at that point. I seen someone ask about Joakim Noah coming in. I'm not sure what the purpose was. It was 3 minutes. I don't know who you would really give him rest to. But, of course, Billy didn't play. Sessions didn't play. Dotson, I don't even think Dotson was activated. I don't even think he was active. So, let's talk about, we're going to get to Kanter. I want to see what some of you guys are saying in here. Jack didn't need to play down the stretch. Should have been Frank. Maybe. Jack made some plays for us. He did have 6 assists. He made a few plays for us. Defensively, I could have seen going with Frank over Jack down the stretch. You said, Alpha, why is Kanter playing down the stretch, or why is he not playing down the stretch? Because he didn't really play too much down there. He played some in the fourth quarter, but when it got down, he did play down the stretch. But, when we needed a 3 and whatever, he wasn't in then. But, Kanter can score for us. He can go get us a bucket. As a matter of fact, in that when we were down 1, maybe we could have went to Kanter because he can get us a bucket inside. Ishmael Hernandez, you said, why doesn't KP get to the low post more often? I don't think he's strong enough to really dominate the low post that much. They like to get him in the mid post. I think in the mid post with KP in the mid post, he has a little more room to maneuver. He can go to the basket. He can pull up the mid range, or if he feels he's strong enough, he can take him down in the post. But for him to be a full-time post player, I don't think he's strong enough yet. Okay, Alpha, you said, why is Kanter not playing down the stretch? Well, I think at the point in the game, with 14 seconds left, we needed a 3. So Kanter's not going to give us that. Maybe when it was 102, 101, I'm not sure if he was in the game at that point. Maybe he could have gave us something in the post. But Kanter played well tonight. 29 minutes, 22 points, 16 rebounds. I seen somebody earlier say that Kanter is probably our most mentally tough player on the team. And I agree with you. I think Kanter may be our most mentally tough player on the team. Kanter, I think tonight, I don't know, was this his season high, 22 points? Maybe that was his season high in points for the night or for the season. Every night, I will say this, every night there's a new player. Nala Seeker, I'll get to that. Nala Seeker's asking, what's the max you would give Kanter? We'll talk about that. But every night is a new player, right? Michael Beasley the other night had a season high. Tonight, Kanter had a season high. We've seen Jack have a couple of highs. Ntilikina have a couple of highs. So that I do like. Every night we have somebody new step up and give us something. And that means we have that's a well-rounded team when you have somebody stepping up every night. James Willie, this is what I wanted to get to and talk about a little bit. You say Kanter is on the run from the law and is still solid. When you talk about mental toughness, it doesn't get more New York than that. He's a keeper. I agree with you. Kanter is dealing with a lot, right? I'm sure you all know the story about his family and what's happening with him right now. And it makes him tough. And I think the Knicks need to rally around him with that. But it definitely makes him tough, mentally tough, because like he said, with what he has to go through in his country, there's nothing about basketball that scares him, because of what he has to go through in his country. And I'm going to pull this article over so that, we can just read it and look at it a little bit with what Kanter is going through. Because it's definitely a tough situation for our guy. See if I can bring this over. See if I can find it first. Then I'll bring it over. See if I can find it. Okay. So let's check this out here. This is from the Washington Post. Turkey wants to imprison the Knicks Kanter for more than 4 years over presidential insults. All right. Turkish prosecutors are seeking a lengthy prison term for New York Knicks center Enes Kanter on charges that he insulted Turkish President. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. I don't want to ruin it. Might have me going to jail. Turkey state-run, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Turkey's state-run news agency reported Wednesday. The indictment against Kanter, a Turkish national, is based on a series of tweets he posted in May and June of 2016, according to the Associated Press. Istanbul's public prosecutor is requesting a 4-year sentence for Kanter, who would be tried in absentia. That's tough, man. And like he said, there's nothing that can happen in basketball that's going to be more scary than this. And hopefully, I'm not sure if he's a U.S. citizen, but hopefully the U.S. can provide him with some kind of protection. If he's not a U.S. citizen, then I don't know if they can provide him with any kind of protection. Now, you said it's more complicated than that. I'm Turkish, and they'll send him to prison for life, not 4 years. Yeah, I mean, I believe you. I believe you, Knowledge Seeker. I know. I just see what it says in here is that the Istanbul's public prosecutor is requesting a 4-year sentence for Kanter. That's tough. That's tough. But I hope that the team is able to rally around them. And I'm sure they are. The team seems pretty close and pretty tight. Okay, Sir Patrick, you say he's not a citizen. His passport was revoked. So then that probably means the U.S. really can't do too much about it, right? He said, okay, he's working on his citizenship. Good. I'm glad. That's a good thing. Man, I mean, okay. Pratik, it's pronounced Erdogan. Thank you for the pronunciation. So it's a tough situation that he's in, and I'm sure at some point that's gonna wear on him. So it says the Turkish government reportedly issued an arrest for Kanter after an airport incident. We didn't read that. Accusing him of membership in a terror group. Kanter was further defiant in the Players Tribune piece. I want you guys to think about what the Turkish government means when they say that I'm a dangerous man, Kanter said in his essay. I've never broken any laws, no speeding tickets, nothing, but I'm dangerous. Why? I speak my mind about things that I believe in, he wrote. I always have. I share my thoughts on Twitter and Facebook about the terrible things that are being done to people in Turkey. I want the whole world to know about the human rights abuses that are going on there. To the Erdogan government, this makes me a dangerous man. So then it says, it seems unlikely that the United States would ever extradite Kanter. According to the 1979 extradition treaty between the two countries, someone can be extradited to Turkey only if the offense is punishable under both the federal laws of the United States and the laws of Turkey. At last check, alleged insults of a president is protected speech in the United States. So that's relieving, that he does have some protection under the United States law. So that's tough, man. That's definitely tough. I feel for him. I hope that things can work out for him. And the knowledge seeker and some other guys, I'm relying on you guys to help us so that we can understand things a little bit better. Kanter, you said Kanter supports a man by the name of Gulen, who is seen as a terrorist in Turkey by everyone. It's not just the president, it's the whole of Turkey. See, these are things that we don't know. The knowledge seeker, and we don't want to, of course, get really political here, but it's great to know these things so that just knowledge that can be passed around so that we know what's happening in our world, we know what's happening in our country. Different people stand for different things, different countries have different cultures, and the more that we know, the more we're educated. The more we can try to bring each other together, and hopefully, we can learn more about what's happening, and whatever injustice will prevail, however that is. Because knowledge seeker, you just hipped us to some things that we probably don't know. But that's a tough situation. And I'm glad we got people from all over the world, and coming from all over the place. People from France, people from Latvia, Turkey, all over the place here in this chat, and we can help each other. We can learn from each other. So big up to that. I like that. But Kanter brings a lot to us, to our team. You've seen tonight, 22 points, 16 rebounds. He's tough. And because I think of what he goes through in his country, he's affable and he's likable, and things that may stress out most of us probably don't stress him out as much. And he brings that to the team, and he can bring that type of mentality to the team, as well as the toughness that he displays. He can bring that to the team. He has brought it to the team, and I don't know if anyone is from Latvia here right now, but we've had some people from Latvia. So hopefully his toughness can shine through, and he can help it. He can bring it to the team and help everyone to take his kind of mentality, because he's fighting something that's much bigger than basketball. And he's not the only player in the NBA that's had to go through these type of things. But, he's fighting it, and hopefully he'll make it out okay. So let's get back to basketball. We don't want to get too much into politics, but things are going to happen in the world, and sometimes we may need to touch on it a little bit. And what I will say, though, if we get into political debates ever here, let's all approach it with an open mind, so that we're learning from each other. We're not saying this country's better, this person's better, this race is better. Let's approach it with an open mind, so that we're hearing each other and try to understand each other's point of views. That's the only way that things can grow. You know what I'm saying? London, I hear what you're saying. You say sports and politics not mixing. We want to keep this about sports, but sometimes politics moves into sports. So I'm just kind of making a blanket statement to say, if it does, and we ever get into any kind of debates or talks about things, let's keep it friendly. Let's keep it with an open mind. But we'll always keep things about sports. We're not just going to come in and start talking about things that's happening. We will, if it's happening with someone on our team, we'll approach it, we'll learn, and we'll move on. So, we want to keep it that way. All right. Now, so let's get back to sports. Someone asked, what's the max I would give Kanter? That's a really good question, because right now, I think that thanks, Kroos, and I've seen some other people agree with me. I appreciate that. We want to keep it all good in here. Good, healthy debates are great. We don't want anything to get negative. We want to keep it all positive. We come here to have some relief and have fun and enjoy talking about a team that we are passionate about. That's how we're going to keep it. That's what we're going to do. Brooklyn Prophet, you say 10 mil. He's making more than 10 mil now. I think Kanter's making like $17 million a year. So he's definitely not going to take 10 million. I think that Kanter has an opt-out at the end of the season, which means that him and his agent will probably, look at his production throughout the year. And exactly, knowledge seeker, exactly. But him and his agent will probably look at, what he's done, his production throughout the year, and then decide. And his agent will probably talk to some other teams, and see what his value is worth, and then he'll decide whether or not he's going to opt out. If he plays at close to an all-star level, he'll probably opt out. And, his play has been mostly consistent. I think he's averaging, let's see what we can pull up on him. I believe that he's averaging Kanter. He's giving us 13 points and 9.8 rebounds a game. Now remember, his numbers dipped a little bit because he had some injury, back injury or whatever. His numbers dipped a little bit. If he stays around here, then the money that he's getting now will probably be what his market value is. If, he, ascends and gets better, then maybe his market value is a little bit more. So I think that they'll probably, let's check out Hoops Height. I think that he's making 17 million, almost 18 million this year. Then he's making over 18 million next year. And you see the blue, you see this blue here, means that he has a player option. So if he opts in to his contract, then he'll be making $18 million a year. I mean, I think I don't know if he continues to play as an all-star, or if he plays as an all-star, then he might opt out. If he stays around 13-10, he'll probably, opt into his contract and make that $18 million. Then after that, we'd have to see exactly what he is before we can decide what we'll give him. He deserves more than $15 million for 4 years. Well, that's what he's on now. He's making more than $15 million for 4 years now. So, yeah, Noah's eating up $17 million a year. He is. We have, you see Noah. You see it right here. Noah is on the books until 2020. 17, almost $18 million this year, over $18 million next year, $19 million in 2020. Now Beasley, what do we do for Beasley? I don't know. I'm not sure. Beasley's up and down. Last night everyone was, Beasley, Beasley should get this big contract. Tonight, he 6 points. I think Beasley will continue. He'll get paid as a role player. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure about Beasley. I'm not sure what its market is right now. How many? If people, I kind of look at Beasley as like the way Nate Robinson was a couple years ago. Nate Robinson popped around from team to team to team, and and he would come in like Derrick Rose was out when Nate Robinson played for the Bulls. He came in and he was dropping buckets, assists. He was playing ball, but never got the contract, right? Because no one really thought he was the kind of guy that you win with. And, he was the kind of guy, okay, you know what? We need someone that can come in and give us some production for a little while. We'll get Nate Robinson. And we've seen him do that, a couple of teams it happened with. Beasley's kind of like that guy right now. That's what I'm seeing. He was at he was in Milwaukee last year. Did the same thing, like lit it up for a couple of games. I'm actually hoping that he can find a home here, though. I like the way he fits in with within the offense. He seems, like he said last night in his interview, he's willing to do whatever the team wants him to do. Like he said, if they want him to cheer at the end of the bench, he's gonna go get his pom-poms. I like that kind of mentality, and maybe he'll have a home here. We just got to find the right value for him. Now, let's see. You say, what about giving a future first to get rid of Noah? We might be good in 2 to 3 years, so a draft pick might not be too valuable. Well, when are you talking about giving that first, right? Because you definitely don't want to give it this year. You probably want to keep it this year. And then if you give it in 18, of course, you got to keep your first-round pick in 20. If you give it in 20, then you got to keep your first-round pick for 2021. I don't know. I think that what you do is you keep Noah this year, you keep Noah next year. In 2019, 2020, even though we know his contract is his he's eating up some space. If we keep our draft picks and we try to get some talent through the draft, and I'm not saying tank to get a first-round pick. I mean, to get a number 1 pick. I'm just saying we assess and try to get talent through the draft. Well, if we're getting that talent through the draft, those guys, hopefully they can come in and produce, and they'll be on low salaries, right? Like you look at Frank, $3,500,000, right? Next year, $4 million. They'll be on low salaries. By the time those guys are ready to really get contracts, or we have some guys that's really ready to get contracts, like KP. He'll be in 1920 that summer. He'll be up for a contract. He's going to get paid. Lance Thomas comes off the books. Courtney Lee comes off the books. Tim Hardaway has a player option. All these guys come off the books. And in that year, you're talking about 2018, 2019, you might be able to trade Noah because he has an expiring contract. Maybe you have some teams who, have a disgruntled star or something like that, and they're looking to clear their books. Then maybe you can use Noah. I want to keep our first round picks because they're value. They have value. You get a first round pick. Say you pick, 18th in the draft, and you pick and you bring that guy in, and that guy, he's performing as a player that should be making $10 million. You have a lot of value there. And that's an asset that you can use and a chip that you can use. And if you trade that away just to get rid of Noah, I think you lose that asset. I think it all depends on, it's going to depend on what our future. Now, let's say we develop way faster than we thought. And next year, we're winning 50, 55 games. Then maybe you think a little bit different and say, well, maybe we can get rid of that and we'll have room to bring in someone that's going to put us over the top. But I think right now we're not looking at that. I think right now we're looking at, we're growing, we're developing. We need to bring in as many young athletic guys as possible, guys that want to play the way we play, and then go from there. So I think, you're better off letting Noah's contract expire. Just grinning and bearing it and letting it expire instead of giving up future assets, just to free up $20 million that you don't even know if you're going to be able to bring in someone with that $20 million. So, that's where I am with that. You was thinking Mo Heartless, but Stanley ain't that bad. So you guys are kind of talking a little bit about some guys we can bring in. We're looking at that year, the summer of 2020. That's the year. I think that's the timeline that the Knicks are looking at, right? They're looking at, this year, next year, and the year after. I think Jeff Hornacek said something about a 3-year timeline. And I think they're looking at this summer as the summer that guys like Frank and Ron and Porzingis, Hardaway, where we're really flourishing as a team and we're ready to take that next step. And then you got guys like Joakim coming off the books. Baker will already be off the books. Kyle O'Quinn will already be off the books. You got these guys off the books, and we got all this money that we can spend on someone to go over the top. So I think that's probably what we're looking at. So now let's see. You say, if we can get Kanter to stay, who would you want? You said, if we can't get Kanter to stay, who would you want? Would you want to spend that money on a 3 and play Noah, O'Quinn, and Hernan Gomez at the 5? That's probably what I would do. Now let's see. If Kanter decides to opt out and go someplace else, I don't think he will. I think he likes it in New York and wants to be a Knick. But if he decided that, then I would use that money on a 3. And what I would do, especially in this situation, we know there's a cap minimum every year. You've got to spend a certain amount of money, right? But let's say that Kanter decided to opt out and then he went someplace else. If I didn't find the right piece, I wouldn't spend the money. You know what I'm saying? I'd keep that money free. This way, you can have guys trade into that money that you have free if we're still not over the cap. You can have guys trade into that money because you have $18 million free. So you have room to maneuver. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't, just because Kanter decides, well, I'm not gonna re-sign, I wouldn't just go out and spend that money. If we didn't find somebody that we really wanted, I'd keep that money open. But I'd be looking for a 3. Yeah, I'd be looking for a 3. Is KP a max player? I don't know, but I think he's going to get max money just based on potential. So, you know, I think he'll get max money. Is he a straight up max player? It's hard to say, but he's going to get max money. So, and I seen someone ask about Tobias Harris and his contract. When is his contract up? Let's see. Because I like Tobias Harris at the 3 spot. I really do. I think he'd fit in nice with us. Tobias Harris, his contract is up next summer. Not this summer. Not 2018 summer. 2019 summer. His contract is up. So, I don't know if we'll have money free. And he's going to make more than 14. He's going to make more than 15 million. You know, but he's a guy that I'd look at for sure. He's definitely a guy that I'd look at. Tobias is a guy I want the Knicks to get. Yep. Hornacek Shaw. I like him. I definitely like Tobias Harris. You say Andres, you say it's a dilemma because you want to keep Kanter, but you want Hernangomez to grow. I agree. I don't know if Kanter, I don't think Hernangomez can give us the same thing that Kanter gives us, though. Not right now. James Willie said Kanter is staying in New York City. Porzingis already gave him his complimentary 10 butter Tims. Yeah. That was cool, right? It wasn't KP. The team just gave all the players customized Tims. That's what's up. Yeah. Tobias is from New York. He's from the area. Yep. But the team actually gave the team, gave all the players custom Tims. That's what's up, though. Tobias Harris, A-Dub, you say Tobias Harris will be good on the Knicks. He's a New Yorker. It would be a good homecoming for him. I agree. And he's the kind of guy that he'll play within the offense, but he can also go one-on-one. So I really like Tobias Harris. I actually thought we had a chance to bring him to New York a few years back. We didn't have the money. I thought that he would have came to New York, but we didn't. I don't think we had the money. Maybe we have the money this time. Cruz, you asked me where's my job, or you're asking me? I'll come back to you once you answer that. I'm not sure if you're talking to me or someone else. Tobias is another Melo. I don't know if he's exactly Melo. He's a 3-man, but I think he plays a little bit of a different game than Melo. I think that Harris is a little bit more. Melo, like it or not, I like Melo, but he liked the ISO. That's his game. I think Tobias Harris is a little more willing to pass the ball. and plays within the offense a little bit more. But he can also isolate if we need to. I think he does both. He said we already have Melo, the lefty version. But like we're seeing tonight, Beasley's not consistent. We need that. You need that consistency from him. But Bees is nice, definitely. Now, Marty, see, you could be right. We could draft our own Tobias. That could be true. We can draft our own. And that's the luxury of having your first round picks and keeping your first round picks. Okay. Yep. AW might be right. We had the money, but he spent it on Robin Lopez. And then ended up trading Robin Lopez for D Rose. Yeah. We could be like the East Coast Spurs. We could. A lot of international players, we could. And I think that's part of the reason why you see the type of play that we have, that we play with right now. The type of game we have, moving the man movement, ball movement, reminiscent of a game of a European type of game. Justin, you said, would I have played O'Quinn or Noah more tonight? I think I might have went with Noah, because Noah has size. When we're playing against guys like Andre Drummond, Dwight Howard the other day, Joakim Noah's been up against these guys. He's pounded with these guys already, and he's strong. He may not be able to score. That's a problem. And Kyle O'Quinn definitely gives us that over Noah. But Noah knows how to bang with him. And sometimes we need a banger down there. And maybe tonight was just the beginning of Noah getting into shape, starting to get a groove in and getting in. We'll see. Or maybe he just wanted to play him because it was the second night of a back-to-back, wanted to give some guys rest. But I think Noah, he may need to start looking at saying, when we play against these bigger guys, we need to put Noah in and let him bang around a little bit. He only got 13 minutes. But see, this is what Watchful News. This is what's going on with Hornacek, with Beasley. I agree with you. He only got 13 minutes. And I think Hornacek is maybe not giving Beasley the respect that maybe he should. He's just giving him a role player treatment. Let me say it like that. He's treating him like a role player. If you don't come in and you're not hitting, this is what he's saying to Beasley. If you don't come in and you're not hitting, then you're not gonna get the minutes, right? Because your job and your role is to come in and score. And Beasley isn't always consistent coming in and just scoring, which is the reason why he's not a starter in the league, because he's not always consistent. And and I'm not sure he's going to get that crack. I'm not sure he's going to get that crack to say, you know what? We're riding with you, mistakes or no mistakes, hot or not hot, we're riding with you. I don't know if it might be too late for him to get that crack. And the sad thing about that, though, is that Beasley may be at the point in his career where he's a little bit more humble. He's got his head on a little bit better, and he may be able, to, even though he's not hitting, be that guy that can still. I've seen some growth from him this year so far, and he may be that one of them guys now that can go in and you still give him, even though if he's not hitting, you still give him 18 to 20 minutes, like Kenny Reese is saying, 24 minutes, whatever it is, and see and let him produce and let him do something, because he's willing to pass. He's a willing passer, I think he had 3 assists tonight or something like that in his limited minutes. Beasley didn't take too many shots. He wasn't hitting. He didn't come right in hitting. But he didn't take too many shots today, A-Dub. It's not like he came in and he was just jacking up shots. But I think Hornacek just has him on a short leash. Let's see. Michael Beasley, he took 6 shots. Well, you know what? He was 3 for 6 from the field. So, honestly, I don't know if he just thought that Beasley was going to come in and light it up and just go crazy again. But 13 minutes, 3 for 6 from the field, 3 assists. He had 2 turnovers. I don't know, man. Hornacek sometimes, I don't know. Maybe it's, he wasn't doing that great of a job on Tobias Harris, but that's Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris is going to get his. Tobias Harris, 24 points tonight, 5 assists, 7 for 16 from the field. It's always a question with what's going through Hornacek's mind sometimes with who he decides to play and when. I don't know. He shot 50% from the field. He probably could have gave us something a little bit more. But, he went with these guys here. This is who he went with. Porzingis, 38 minutes. Lance, 34. Kanter, 29. Jack, 28. Courtney Lee, 33. Frank could have gotten more minutes. Beasley could have gotten more minutes. So who knows? What he was thinking or excuse me. What he was thinking or what his reasoning behind it was. But let's get to the 76ers game, Christmas Day. It's going to be a good matchup. It's going to be a good game. We are home. Thank God. We're home. But then that means after this home game, we have 49 games left, 28 on the road. But we're home, and it's a chance for us to get this one back, right? Move ourselves back into the playoff race, or we're in the playoff race, but, back into maybe that 8th seed or something like that. The 76ers are, let's look at the standings real fast. 76ers are 14-17. They are 2.5 games behind us. We need to win this game to, keep them behind us so that they don't gain any ground on us. Chaco, you have it 117-110 Knicks. Frank on Simmons, can't wait. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. But Simmons is 6'10" though. So if Frank is 6'5", 6'6", 175, 180 pounds, Simmons take my man in the post all day because Simmons can post up. Matter of fact, they probably want Simmons posting up. But that's gonna be fun to watch. A lot of young guys. That's gonna be fun to watch. I don't know. Let's see if we can find out some information about his injury. Cause I just don't have the answer to that right now, but we can get the answer real quick. Let's try to pull this up. Let's see. So the Bleacher Report is saying Joel Embiid could return back from injury on Christmas versus the Knicks. And that would, of course, that would be the case. The NBA wants him to play on Christmas, right? In New York. So, you know that. Yep, he's expected to return to the lineup on Christmas Day against the Knicks. B has missed Philly's past 2 games with a sore back. He'll be there. I'm pretty positive. The NBA wants him there on Christmas Day in Madison Square Garden. He'll be there. Yep, it's a noon game. Yep, it's a noon game. He'll definitely be there. As a matter of fact, they probably told him, you need to rest. You need to rest a couple of days before if your back is hurting because we need you in Madison Square Garden. Yeah. And Joel Embiid is going to be, he's going to be something to deal with. Kanter's got to deal with him. Size-wise, when I look at Embiid, guys that I think are big in the NBA, I look at Embiid, and he towers over them. It's like, it's crazy. The guy is huge, and he can take you out on the perimeter. He is a little prone to taking some crazy shots sometimes. If we can play some decent defense on him, if Kanter can play some defense, some decent one-on-one defense on him, then maybe we can force him into taking some crazy shots. Of course, Simmons does a good job controlling the game. You got guys like J.J. Redick that can take it outside and knock it down. So we're definitely gonna watch him. Gotta watch him. Knowing our bad 3-point defense. Let's take a look at these guys. Philadelphia. They've lost 4 in a row. So much for, tanking. Philadelphia is one of the reasons I am so against tanking. You know what I mean? Yeah, Embiid, he's a generational talent if he stays healthy. Definitely. For sure. So let's look at who they're starting with Embiid out. Now, we know he's going to be there, but I just want to see who they're starting with him out. Ben Simmons, Jared Bayless, Amir Johnson. Okay. They got Saric and Robert Covington. I like Robert Covington, man. I like him. He's the kind of 3 that I would love on the Knicks. I would love to have a 3-man like him on the Knicks. He's a baller. I like him. Let's see who else now is Redick out? I don't see him in the lineup here versus Toronto. So is J.J. Redick? Yeah, they have shooters, but it doesn't look like J.J. Redick is here. Of course, he's one of their shooters. Robert Covington, you see he was 5 for 12 from 3-point range versus Toronto the other night. Shot 41% from 3. They got some guys that can knock it down, so we're going to have to guard that 3-point line. One of the reasons, man, when I watch, when I'm watching the games, one of the reasons I see so many teams beat us from the 3-point line. I talked about it before in some other videos, and I'll put a link to it up here so you can check that out. The screen and roll, dealing with that screen and roll, but also we sag so deep into the paint, and we ball watch. So we're sagging deep into the paint, and we're watching the ball, and then when the ball gets swung, we have a hard time getting back out to defend that 3-point line. And we're so worried about guards penetrating, especially when we play guards like we played tonight, Reggie Jackson, Ish Smith. Just so happened that, Detroit wasn't really hot from 3. They still made 10 threes. But, we've got to we've got to be a little bit more mindful about being so deep into the paint when we got guys out on the wings, so that we can get back out there, and especially when we have someone that we know and we do the scouting report and we know someone's gonna knock down threes. We've got to we got to say, okay, I'm not leaving this person no matter what, right? I don't know if J.J. Redick is playing. I don't see him up here. I know J.J. Redick is a three-point shooter. I'm not leaving him. I'm staying attached to his hip. You guys are just going to have to get a stop, because I'm not leaving him because he's going to kill us from the three-point line. So, those screener rolls, stopping the guard from the point of attack on the screener roll, and then our guys dipping into the paint too much so that we don't have enough time to get back out and recover. Those things hurt us from the three-point line. Yeah, and we switch a lot too. We do. Yep, we switch a lot. But as far as keys for this game, James Willis, limit turnovers. Of course, that's got to be a key to every game, right? Because we're in the bottom of the league in turnovers. So we definitely got to limit our turnovers. We don't want Ben Simmons, Covington, Embiid getting out and running. If so, we're in trouble, right? We turn the ball over, we let them get out and run, we're in trouble. We want to defend that perimeter, right? We want to keep guys, run these guys off the three-point line. Don't let them knock down threes on us. But we also got to guard that paint, and we got to find a way to defend Joel Embiid. So Justin Remedy said Jeff should let Noah play a little bit against Embiid. I agree. I think that he's big, and Noah can play against him. He's got the size, he's got the body, and the physicality. Yeah. I think so, Knowledge Seeker. I think Redick must be injured. Yeah. KP got to throw it down on Embiid. Well, we'll see. If he tries and he gets blocked, it's going to be all over social media. And you know how Joel is. He's going to get at you. But as a team, let's look at Philadelphia as a team. What their numbers are as a team. All right. They're 6th in points per game. So they can score. Now, of course, if Embiid is out, they have some trouble there. They're going to have some trouble scoring. But they got guys that can fill it up. 6th in points per game. 1st in rebounds per game. 2nd in assists per game. But right here, 25th in opponents' points per game, which means their team defense isn't that great. And we'll be able to score. Okay. But that means we've got to defend. They can score. They can score. We've got to defend. We're gonna have to be on the boards, right? So we're gonna need Kanter hitting the boards, or Quinn hitting the boards, and if Noah's in the game, hitting the boards. Maybe need some guards to help out hitting the boards. Let's see what else we can learn about these guys. The best lineups. Number 1 lineup: Embiid, Holmes, Redick, Sark, and Ben Simmons. Not sure Redick probably isn't even going to be there. All right, so that's one of the dangerous lineups. Then you got Covington, Embiid, Redick, Simmons, Sark. So these are some lineups we got to look out for here. Right? Jared Bayless, Covington, Embiid. Who do you always notice? Simmons, Embiid, Redick. Right? Always in those lineups. Yep, always in the lineup. And of course, Simmons and Embiid is going to be in there, obviously. Right? scoring. That's what I want to look at. I want to see what they're doing. So looking at these lineups. Now, these are the lineups. And this is why it's their number one lineup. Opponents shoot 33% from 3. 6 assists, offensive rebounds. It's not exactly what I wanted to look at, though. Let's go back to traditional. Okay, let's look at, here we go. Still there. Overall, 26.4 assists per game, but they also average 18.2 turnovers a game. So, you want to see our number one lineup? We'll pull that up. I'm going to pull it up, Marty. I'll pull that up. 48 rebounds a game, 26 assists. These guys can get up and down. They can light it up. We're going to have, we definitely got to rebound well, because if not, they're going to get out and run. And we don't want them to do that. Rebound is going to be key. So let's look at our best lineups. Let's check that out. All teams. Knicks. Lineups. Our best lineup. Jack, Kanter, Lee, Porzingis, and Thomas. Well, that's definitely our starting lineup right now. Let's see, 5 and 2, 39.4 points, 49% field goal percentage, rebound 17.9, 8.3 assists, 4.6 turnovers. Then our next lineup is Hardaway, Kanter, Lee, Porzingis, and Sessions. Surprising. Okay, well, I'll leave that up there. You guys can look at it a little bit. But so against Philly, man, we're gonna have to rebound the ball so they don't get out and run. Guard that perimeter. Do the best we can on Embiid. Those things right there, I think, and then offensively, they'll let us score. Yeah, I'm surprised about that, right, Sessions? Offensively, they'll let us score. We gotta move the ball. Make sure we're not playing one-on-one basketball. Move the ball, move the man, get assists, and we should be all right. It's gonna be a close game, a tight game. It's gonna be fun. Kanter and Embiid, they'll go at each other on the court and on social media. You're right about that, A-Dub. Definitely. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun. Hit the plus minus. Let's see what we're looking at. We got the plus minus in here. Well, let's look at players. We can see the players plus minus. Let's try to get over a little bit. Oh, well. You can see the players plus minus here. Courtney Lee is a 0.2. Damian Dotson is a negative 1.8. McDermott, negative 0.1. Kanter, negative 1.1. Frank is a 0.2. Jack is a 1.1. Joakim Noah is a 3.0, but that's in a very short, limited amount of time on the floor. Porzingis is 2.8. O'Quinn 1.1. Lance is even, 0. Beasley 0.1. So here we go. Raymond Sessions negative 2.3. Hardaway 2.3. Billy negative 1.5. No one on the best lineup. KP KP. Kanter is a negative 1.1. Plus minus is always hard though, because it all depends on who you're playing with on the floor at the time that you're in the game. So plus minus is always tough. But hey guys, it's late, and I think I'm going to call it a night. Yeah, I'm working on it, Marty. I'm definitely working on it. Working on finding a way so that, because it's just me. So I've got to be able to not monitor, but look at who's calling so I can, be able to say who that person, say, hey, Marty Knicks is calling or whatever it is. So what I'm looking at a few different options, but I'm going to get it. I'm definitely going to get it. I'm going to get that working. I'm just looking at the best way to do it so that I can, because it's just me, so I can monitor it, and get guys on the call. And it may also be that we use, I may use some conference calling, because I have some conference calling capabilities where I can also see it on the screen. So I may use that. I may use some Skype. If guys have Skype, maybe we can get guys to just Skype in, and I have a screen set up so you can Skype in and we can talk over Skype for a minute. But I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it working. Now Christmas, I hope to be on Christmas after the game, but of course I'm gonna have family over, and I'm gonna have to call it as I see it. All right. I look like a younger Clyde. Clyde Drexler, or what? Clyde Frazier. Yeah, I got hair, man. Got hair right there. I just like to wear hats. All right, SRS, appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it. But I'm definitely working on getting phone calls in, working on a few other things so that we can, we can continue to make this grow. We can connect more. As I said in the last show, I'm working on maybe us being able to get together and do some things, some meetups, maybe at a game or some things like that. So we're working. I'm definitely working on some things. Anyone who's on the show right now, just listening in, if you haven't subscribed to us, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be there's a button, of course. You know what a subscribe button is. Subscribe to us and continue to join us after every game. And everybody, wishing me a happy holidays. I'm wishing you happy holidays as well. Enjoy your Christmas. Much love to you. Peace to you and your family. If you don't celebrate Christmas, you just celebrate the holiday or however you celebrate. Much love to you and your family. Enjoy. Be safe. And hopefully I'll talk to everybody on Monday. Peace. Let's take it there.